This video is here to get you set up with Jupyter notebooks. Now, it might take a little bit more work when you first do this, but once you have it running, it shouldn't be too bad. However, there are a lot of variables here, as you'll see. Let's just try to start this off. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a shortcut to Jupyter. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a normal search, and I will, there we go. Jupyter Notebook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just right click this, open the file location, and then I could right click this to create a shortcut. So that's what I might want to do. I already actually have that. I already did that, so I have my Jupyter Notebook shortcut there. Okay. You can also pin this to your desktop or do whatever you want, but just some way to easily access it. Now when I do this, what it does is instead of opening up a place for me to work in Python, it creates this window. Okay, so what does it tell me I need to do? Well, it says to access the notebook, open this file in a browser, or copy and paste one of these URLs. So let's just try to copy that. So I'm going to mark and copy. Okay, so once I've done that, I open a browser. I'm using Firefox here, but you could use something else, and I enter that link, and it says this should redirect you, and in less than a second it redirects me. So now I'm here. So let's try to play with this just a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over to New, and then Python 3 Notebook. Okay, so I want to make sure I have everything that comes with the Anaconda distribution on here. So let's see, let's do from Simpy import star. It's a bad habit actually to import all of Simpy, but this is not like some program that we're writing in order to be like, well, we're not trying to be good. We're just trying to do a test here. So that's perfectly fine. So this gives everything that we would want, all the commands that we would want from Simpy to us. So let's try it. So let's try well, let's make a symbol first. No, let's try A equal to matrix. Let's say we're going to go with x, 1, 1. So we'll go with x1, 1x. And that's our b. And if I want b squared, or the determinant, or the inverse, which will of course depend on x, all of these things do. And that would be the inverse for any given value of x. That's telling us what the inverse will be. Also, you can notice right off the bat that this inverse wouldn't be defined if x were, say, 1, right? Because then we would have 1, 1, 1, 1. Those are linearly dependent rows. Or if we have a negative 1, we would also be bad there because we'd have minus 1, 1, minus 1, which, I mean, the second row would be a multiple of the first, right? Negative 1 times the first. So once again, we wouldn't have an inverse in those cases, so that matches up. But this is not supposed to be a linear algebra lecture. We want to talk about Jupyter. So let's keep talking about Jupyter. So some things. What happens the next time we want to run Jupyter? Well, the nice thing is you can bookmark this. This is important. Bookmark this localhost 8888 tree. And then as long as you have this running in the background, you can run Jupyter in your browser. So basically I go here, I bookmarked it here, and I get right to here. If I want to create a new window for Python 3, I do that there. Okay, so now what happens if you want to open something? Like you'll notice if you look at my desktop here, other than a giant Pluto, is I have some .ipy NB files here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back there and I'm going to say, okay, I want to run from my desktop, and let's see, I have this Python comprehension introduction. Okay, so this is going to be really nice because I put everything in a separate box. So in order to run any of these, all I have to do is go into one of these boxes and hit Shift Enter, and I get to see the output. So this was sort of how I meant for people to look at this Python comprehension introduction. Of course, you have to read what it says. You can't just run around hitting Shift-Enter like I'm doing now. That might not be very helpful. But let's see, what have we done? Well, we've created a shortcut. We've created a bookmark. I've explained that you need to have you need to have Jupyter running in a window in order for this to work in your browser. But then once you have that, you can use this bookmark in order to access it. So basically, you'll just click to start Jupyter, then you'll click that bookmark, and you'll be ready to go. If you want to load an existing file, you can load an existing file just like we did here. If you want to save your files, well, you have this little save icon right here, and you can also save as over here. So I think that's everything I needed to tell you about Jupyter. It's really not too hard. The thing is, there's a lot of variables because you might have a different operating system and you might have a different browser. So I imagine with all that variation, there are some things that could go wrong. But as you see, it sort of makes some of the handouts I made for you sort of easier for you to work with. So I recommend you try it. And I guess that's all I needed to say in this video. So try to see if you can get Jupyter Notebooks working in your machine. And that's all for now.